evening, Mr. Lockjack. My name is Saron Bailey. How vibrant do you think is the venture capital market in Trinidad and Tobago? And should a young entrepreneur even realistically expect VC funding for their venture?
Sorry,
How vibrant do you think is the...
feedback.
Hear me?
Yeah.
How vibrant do you think is the venture capital market in this country? And should a young entrepreneur realistically expect VC funding for their venture?
Well, I am not too sure as to what is the market right now, venture capital firms. I don't know if there are many of them still. I really don't know. So I really can't answer the question for how vibrant it is from that point. I really can't. But so if I don't know if it's vibrant or not vibrant, so I can't tell you whether an entrepreneur should go to a venture capital firm. But there are people, I suppose, actually that that invest in companies. Now, we haven't had people say, okay, I'm going to form a company, I'm going to raise equity on the stock market, okay, and so on. So again, that hasn't happened. But basically, there are a lot of capital in the country. They're in pension funds. They're long-term capital. They can take some risk. They can take some you know, for time. It's patient capital, actually, in some of these areas. And somewhere, maybe that question links up with somebody else's question earlier on, and maybe the SMEs, and maybe somewhere inside of there, they got to make a mixture of these things and bring forward more. I know that there were a couple, here the Venture Capital Act, that I know. And I think the Venture Capital Act gave incentives to the venture capital company for lending, collating capital and lending it to things. So the venture capital firm, but I don't think there's anybody who has formed really a venture capital firm in the way that a private equity firm that you hear about would have been formed. I mean, okay, we all have private equity, but in a private equity firm, people will go to that firm, according to which the firm is, and put their money with the firm, and say, okay, fine, I'll leave my money with you. Usually it's about 7 years, you know, and I'm not interested in no interest. Don't give me no interest. Don't give me anything. But in 7 years, I want a return of this amount of money, and so like that. And the company would take that money, and then they would go look for opportunities. They'd buy this, buy that, buy this, strip this company, strip, whatever it is. Not the nature of the game today, in these private equity firms, actually on a large scale. But I think, generally speaking, you don't have very much of that in Trinidad, and so on. But I think there are maybe about 2 or 3 venture. I think there's a business development company, if I'm not mistaken, that is operated by the which seems to be a little bit like a venture capital firm, that they'll take equity in your business and help you to get some debt. So I think that those should certainly be accessed if you're looking at things. They have their rules, they have their regulations, they have their metrics, they have their criteria, and so on. But I certainly believe that those can be addressed in respect to going to them from that standpoint.